MI 1945-P. Germany. As the Third Reich collapsed, Soviet soldiers stormed into the ruins of Peenemünde, the birthplace of the V-2 rocket, Hitler's so-called vengeance weapon. Scattered across the floor were blueprints, shattered engines, and half-destroyed test models. The Germans had tried to burn everything before fleeing, but they didn't move fast enough. Among the debris, Soviet engineers found something extraordinary. The future of warfare. At that very moment, hundreds of miles away, American forces were rounding up the same scientists, including Werner von Braun, in Operation Paperclip. The Soviets, however, were left with the scraps. A handful of technicians, half-finished rockets, and fragmented data. And yet, they refused to accept defeat. The Soviets gathered every surviving engineer, blueprint, and V-2 fragment they could find, shipping them east by the train. Whole rocket sections were loaded onto flat cars bound for Kaliningrad and Moscow. Soviet engineers, led by Sergei Korolev, began the impossible task: rebuild Germany's rocket program from memory. They studied the V-2 like archaeologists decoding a lost civilization. Every screw, every weld, every chemical mix, analyzed, tested, replicated. By 1947, just 2 years after the war, Soviet scientists launched their first successful copy, the U-1 rocket, an almost perfect replica of the German V-2. When news reached the captured German scientists now working in America, they were stunned. How could they do it that fast? One reportedly asked. The answer was simple: relentless determination. Korolev's team didn't just copy, they improved. Within a few years, they scaled the R-1 into larger, more powerful models, the R-2, the R-5, and eventually the R-7. The rocket that would carry Sputnik, the first satellite into space in 1957. The same technology that once reigned destruction on London now reached the stars. Von Braun's team in America built Apollo. Korolev's team in the Soviet Union built Sputnik. But it all began in the ruins of Peenemünde, where Soviet engineers turned Germany's last weapon of terror into humanity. First, step into space. The Nazi scientists never imagined their designs would be reborn so quickly, or that the copies would one day surpass the originals. Because in the end, history belongs not to the ones who invent first, but to the ones who build faster.